All right, welcome to the Jeff and Heidi Show. We're excited today to have Melissa Ambers with us. She's an entrepreneur, speaker, author, consultant. She does a lot of different things that I'm excited to hear about today. And so welcome, Melissa. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Behind the Scene Expert is a company that I founded based on me always working behind the scenes. So basically what that is I come in, help a variety of different clients get organized, and it's not just about straightening up paper or cleaning out your desk or cleaning out your office. It's understanding your processes. And if you don't have processes, I help you to develop those. And throughout that process, we understand your devices. Everyone has the smartphone, iPad, tablet, laptop, some sort of device. So we all have all these devices, but we're just not using them. And it's understanding that everything that you do on your computer, 9 times out of 10, there's an app for it. So why not use that app, connect it, and be sure that when you're saving your documents, sharing, or working with your team, that you have the capability of not having to be in your office all the time. If you're out in meetings or working on a project, you have your iPad or tablet, and of course, we always have our cell phone with us. So you can, look at what your team is working on, or come in, collaborate, or do anything that you need to do from your cell phone itself. So you don't have to be in your office all the time, and you don't have to always go out to have meetings with your clients. You use, something like this. You go online and you can have a face-to-face meeting. Why waste time in traffic, burning gas, wear and tear on your car, when you can have your meeting and be done in an hour instead of taking an hour to drive and then have a meeting and then another hour or so to drive back. So that's 3 hours in your day right there that you're wasting instead of just having an online meeting. So it's crucial to every business to understand that, and where they can decrease their costs. Time management is so important. Who doesn't want their time back, right? So we look at all of those features, and while we're going through that, we figured out what tool is best for you and your business. So what I use may not be useful for you for what you're doing. And not only that, I'm a little bit more techie. So if you're not, I'm not going to give you something like, a podium or something that's a little complex to do. I'm going to find what works for you and your team. And before I leave, I want to be sure that you and your staff is properly trained, because it just doesn't make sense to go through all of this and we don't take the time to properly train everybody. Then you're going to fall back to where you were. So Behind the Scene Expert is how that was pretty much born, to help people with time management, being efficient, and understanding online tools and their devices.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Are
Sorry, go
you,
ahead, Heidi.
are you, you're in Houston, right?
Yes, I am.
So are your clients in Houston, or can you do this all over the world?
All over, yeah. Most are here, but I do work with people online.
Okay.
And actually that helps too, because with us working online, it's easier to show, okay, we're working online. Look, let's do this, let's do that. And they're like, oh, okay, I didn't know I could do that. Yes.
So I can carry my computer around and show you my mess and my files, and you can tell me what to do.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Just on that topic, that's been one of the great things about our Inner Circle Mastermind and just the network we're putting together is Melissa's actually working with one of my clients out of Utah, and I just hear she just raves about Melissa, and so that's exciting that they're doing so well together. But so what we like to have for our listeners, Melissa, is not only the entrepreneurs that we have on our show, not only what they do and some of the hurdles they've been through, some of the different things that they're doing that they might be able to learn from, but how did you start? How did you get into this? You want to share that with us?
Sure. Working in corporate America, that's always been my thing. I'm just naturally talented with technology and just processes. I I tend to tune in and listen to what's happening, or, at that side eye, you kind of like, well, why is she doing this? What, before I'm like, okay, if you do X, Y, Z, this will be a little bit more easier. So I've just kind of, always done that. And I've had requests to say, hey, Melissa, help me this. Hey, Melissa, how can I do this? So I'm like, well, okay, why not? So, start a business and reach out, get on social media and let people know what you're doing to be able to get your clients. And with this, it's not as easy as some people may think it is. It's one of them things, until you know that you're ready or you're having that issue, you're not going to follow the process. You're not going to want to do it. We'll have, oh, well, I can get organized. I'm going to straighten up here. Or, oh, yeah, I use this online tool. But it's like, okay, you're using that, but you're still over here writing with pen and paper. You're still taking your notes over here. Then you come over here and do this. So it's, okay, where you're not really where you think that you need to be. And sometimes it takes some convincing. I always get pushback, and that just goes with the process. You're gonna get the pushback, and it's being able to help them understand and work with them to, calm down. Don't be afraid. You're not gonna lose, what you're doing. It's not gonna take away from your core business. It's actually gonna benefit and boost, your growth, because now you have more time to work with a client, be in front of a client face to do what you have to do, instead of always bogged down, in your office of looking for documents, trying to find paperwork, or, not sure what something is, you're searching for documents. So we even help them organize their computer with their documents to be sure they have the folders, the subfolders, and all of that stuff is aligned. You want a clean, streamlined process.
Super.
No.
That's excellent.
Yeah, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment so far in this business? I mean, like maybe a little client anecdote or something.
One of them has been a huge pushback from someone that was set in their ways. And I got it done. Let me grab my tablet. No, I got it. They would walk around with this briefcase of papers and tablets, and I'm actually Spira notebook tablets. And, and when you're, ask a question, okay, let me flip through. I know I wrote it in here somewhere. Hold on one second. And as I started working with them, showing them how to use some of these online tools and how easy it is. Once I set it up for them on all of their devices, and we did notes on the computer. I did a lot of things on purpose and just didn't tell them I was doing it. But I did some things on the computer, and I was talking them through and everything. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. We don't have to go back to your office. Let's open it up on your phone. Oh, but I didn't do it on my phone. Don't worry about it. Let's open it up. Let's see. And then look, I was like, it's my notes. I was like, yes, this is what I mean when, we work across all of your devices. As long as you're logged into that exact same account, everything syncs, and you don't have to worry about, let me put on my tablet, let me put on my laptop, let me put on my phone. You put it in one place, and it's going to sync across all your devices.
So I use Evernote for similar stuff to that. What's your number one go-to app?
It depends on what you're asking, because for note taking, it will be Evernote. It's one that I would use. If it's for a CRM, it will be Keep. If it's project management, it could be Podio. So it kind of depends on where you want to go.
Okay, excellent. No, I understand that. Okay, now the other thing I want to talk about, we talk here about what you're doing with Behind the Scene Expert, but you do so much more. I mean, let's talk about all the other things you're doing, because it's a lot and it's amazing. We met because you invited me on a podcast,
right?
And so tell us the other things you're doing as well.
Okay, well, I also created a magazine called Savvy, and it started with the magazine Savvy, the business magazine. And that's because there's a lot of local magazines and national magazines, But the smaller magazines is so focused on getting somebody on the cover. Oh, we got to be on the cover. And you have that person coming in. Oh, I'm on the cover of such and such magazine. And yeah, that's nice and all. But I wanted something to where it can also be a resource that has some, meat and potatoes, if you will, in the magazine, and not just something we flip through and it's just simple articles. I wanted to hit on things that happen and issues that businesses have. So that's why I created Savvy the Business Magazine, and I keep it short for that reason. And I usually stay between 20 and 25 pages. And it's always articles in there about either online tools, some type of tip, or if there's a story, it's not just about that person. You will have the information in there of how to overcome that issue and how to move forward with that. And I've done podcasts a while back, and I just, kind of pulled back from it. But, people was asking about it. So I was like, okay, well, if I have the magazine, let's go ahead and do the podcast. The same concept, but this way, we're actually talking to people, and, we could do it live. They could come on, ask questions. And I actually started doing it live on Saturday mornings. People off of work, once that work, or, if they have a business, 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, people are up and moving around, but they still have the opportunity to come on, listen to it on social media or YouTube. But the engagement was more so after the interview. So I was like, okay, well, why, keep trying to push to do it live. Let's just pre-record them, put them up, and I have those questions come in or engagements in the comments, and we can reply accordingly. If they have a question about something that's not in the interview, I reach back out to that guest I had on the show and say, hey, this person is asked about blah, blah, blah. Can you reiterate? But if it gets too in-depth, let's just do another show. Let's just do another show and talk about, these things. And I'm also an author. And the first book I wrote actually was a client that pushed me to write it. Because I'm like, one, I'm not a writer. I don't know what I'm doing. Have absolutely no idea of what to do, how to write a book. I don't write. And she's like, well, people want to know about, working behind the scenes, getting organized, your processes. I'm like, nobody want to read about that. And she was like, Melissa, she pushed me for like at least a year and a half. So I don't want nobody to think that it's something that happens overnight. Everything is a process. And I finally just started outlining everything and dropping everything in. And she took the book. She was actually a publisher. She took the book and she put it out. And it actually stayed in Amazon's top 5 for a month and a half on the first book.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Okay, wow, I guess people, are looking. So,
and I guess just before you go from that, make sure for anyone that's interested in that, is that the Set Yourself Apart?
Yeah, Set Yourself Apart.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I just want to make sure you share the name of that for anyone that wants to go find that.
Sorry. Yeah, Set Yourself Apart, Understanding Utilizing Online Tools. And then Coffee Sugar Cream came after that. That's Managing Effective Business Processes. And that's the second book, and that stayed up as well. So both books are actually Amazon bestseller, international. So that's on both books. And after that, I have 2 workbooks. One workbook is about business burnout, and the other one is on setting goals. So as far as authoring, that's what I have, the 4 books that I have so far. And I just recently released the March issue of Savvy the Business Magazine, and the cover on that is creating effective sales funnels. So just to give you an idea, that's, kind of where the magazine and podcast, go with all of that. So that's a quick snippet nutshell.
Well, let's look a little bit more at the, let's just look at the business magazine a little longer. Sorry, Heidi.
I just wanted to ask her because there was another thing I saw on her LinkedIn profile about being part of a trucking company as well.
Oh, my husband, he drives trucks.
Oh, and so you help manage his life, that's right?
Yeah. My husband,
Okay.
yeah, he drives trucks, and pretty much he drives, he does his thing. And
Yeah.
was a lot of people ask me about that is, of course, with trucking, you have boatload of receipts and paper just all over the place.
Right.
And me being who I am, I can't stand it. So I started probably 5 or 6 years ago. I finally convinced him it's okay to let go of your receipts. So I had to deal with this in my own household. We can let go of this paper because not only that, receipts fade. And when they fade, it does you no good
Right.
anyway. So I started scanning his stuff. And I had him sit with me one time. Of course, like I said, I do stuff intentionally and don't tell the person. So I got him in here and I was asking him questions about stuff, but I'm steady scanning where the stuff is popping up on the screen. And I was like, oh, yeah. I said, see, we could print this off. So if you have a warranty or if you get audited, we could print this stuff off. It's legal nowadays. People know they go digital. And I'm steady scanning, but I'm steady talking. And he finally slowly, inched off of it. So that's the part I do with him. So now when he goes to his CPA, he takes 2 sheets of paper, a P&L, and it's 1099, and that's it. We
And
don't
I
have
actually
bags.
probably use his phone and take pictures of the receipt, right, and upload them.
That's not gonna happen.
No. Wishful thinking.
No,
Anyway, sorry, Jen.
in my office, I set a little spot for him, put everything in this box. Don't just throw it anywhere. This is where you need to put it. So he's got
That's
a big
great.
that.
So Melissa, anyone that's interested in Savvy the Business magazine, is that a physical magazine? Is it a digital? Where can people find that?
It's digital. I'm not doing print, of course, because of cost, but it's straight digital, and it's on Issuu, issuu.com/SavvyMagBiz. And that's where they can find the magazine, and it's shared on social media. It's on LinkedIn. My Facebook page is Savvy the Business Magazine. And on LinkedIn, it's just Melissa Ambers. So you can find the links there where you can look, you can share. I've had some people print certain pages of articles that they want, and they save them as a PDF and use those. So that's where the magazine is going right now. Of course, we're still, adding contributors. This week I had like 4 contributors to jump in on this March issue, which was great. So we just want to keep that going. And not only a contributor is not just someone, okay, I'm gonna put an ad in. I want to be sure that everyone is recognized with their article. So I'd be sure that we have their contact information. So if someone's reading that article, they could contact them directly or go to their social media and follow them and get, whatever information. So I'm always putting out there, if you want to contribute, go ahead, send us your information. Let us know, what you have. But of course, I'm also, I don't put every article in the magazine. So it has to be about some type of issue or something that a business owner or a professional can use in their career.
Okay.
Now, does your podcast have the same name as the magazine? Is it Savvy Podcast or what's?
Yes, it's Savvy the Business Podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
And the podcast is on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, Spotify, Comcast, and YouTube.
YouTube.
Okay.
I want to ask you about 2 specific days. Tell me about April 18th and May 11th.
Oh, okay. You're gonna look at my bio. Okay. April 18th. That is a day that I have a proclamation. It's Melissa Ambers Day. And initially it was supposed to be Set Yourself Apart Day, but they had to stick with that. So it's Melissa Ambers Day. And that's the day that I got a proclamation for that. And I did it in April because that's Administrative Assistance Month. Well, it's really a week, but I call it a month. And I did it in that month because of the Set Yourself Apart book, because we was kind of targeting that audience at that time. And on May 11th is another proclamation, which is Boss Day.
And
And
this was with the city of Houston, correct?
yes, City of Houston.
Yes.
And Boss Day is Building Opportunity Savvy Solutions. So that's May 11th. Actually, May 11th is my birthday, so I did it on my birthday as Boss Day, and I did a May campaign for anybody that would send me a campaign or information about what they do, why they do. I was posting it on my social media as part of Boss Month.
So what is the, I've never heard of actually getting your own day. How do you go about that?
You submit through the city of your city. I don't, well, city of
Yeah.
Houston, that's how we do. I'm not sure if all cities work that way, but
Okay.
I submit it to the mayor's office, and it's a
And,
proclamation. Both proclamations are signed by the mayor.
and do they require a lot of information for you to do that, or do you just to say, hey, I just want to have this day?
No, you have to have a reason. You
Yeah.
can't say, "Oh, I want this day." And for the Melissa Day, that went in, of course, like I said, surrounded around Set Yourself Apart. I talked about the book, a little bit of my back history, and why I felt that I think this needed to be recognized. And it went through. And the same thing with Boss Day. I didn't just go with boss. Of course, bosses use just all over the place, and everybody want to be a boss and it's blingy and all this stuff. But I went a different direction with that, of building opportunities, savvy solutions. So of course I incorporate the name savvy, but savvy is pretty much about uniqueness and things like that. So building opportunities, savvy solutions. So that's how that happened. I talked about building opportunities, business working with each other, collaboration, partnerships, different things like that, and just working with each other and creating opportunities for others. So that's what Boss Day did. I created that opportunity for other businesses to showcase themselves for the month of May. So I'm gonna kind of sort of do the same thing this year again, but I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. So I'm working on some ideas for that for the month of May for this year. So I'm gonna do the same thing for that as well.
Very cool. All right, tell us, what has been your biggest success as an entrepreneur?
My biggest successes have been becoming an author.
Something to be very proud of.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I would have never put on my radar. Never put on my radar. Simply for the reasons, that I stated of, I'm not a writer. This is just not my thing. That's not my area. I know how to stay in my lane very well. I try not to veer off either way. I try to stay right in my lane. And being pushed to do something like that, like I said, she had to push me for a while. And when I finally decided to do it, I use Google Drive, and I just started dropping stuff in there. If I was somewhere and I came up with an idea, I would just open up that same doc and just put in whatever. Sometimes it did not make sense at all, but it was just that thought of putting it down. And one thing I learned going through that is, even when I tell people to take notes, I'm like, forget about spelling, forget about punctuation, just put down whatever it is. Because if you really look at it, when we're writing in a spiral notebook, we're just writing stuff. We write, at the margin, on the side, we just write wherever, and we put a little note or word or phrase to remind us to go do whatever that is. And it's the same thing when we're using something like Evernote. Just put it in. It's many times that I could be laying in bed watching TV or something, and a thought come up. I grab my phone, put the note in, and put it down. Sometimes I don't go back to it till months later, but it's something in there. I don't know why, and sometimes I never go back to them. So you just never know. And going through that process, it reaffirmed some of the things that I was saying with, forget about your spelling, your punctuation, just put it down. And I know there's some English teachers that's probably gonna watch it and cringe, but, we have to break the rules sometimes, because when we're focusing on that complete sentence, punctuation, and all of these grammar things, we forget our thoughts. So if you just go for it and just put it down, don't look back at it. And when you do go back to it, then at that time, you'll correct your spelling. You'll be like, okay, well, no, I need to break this sentence up, or this don't make sense. Let me reword. So go back to it at that time once you're done with it. But when you're in the thought process, it's just go. Let's just go through
Stream
it.
of consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, just let it all. It's like just let it all out. It's almost like, okay, let's just vent. Let's just vent on paper and just go. And it's also a good thing to utilize the microphone in these tools that you're using, Evernote, Google Drive, because you could be driving or walking and you don't have to stop to start typing. Turn it on and activate that mic and just hold it up to your mouth and just start talking and listen to your recording later.
Now, does it always get your words right? Because I know, like, when I try to speak to text and I look at what it typed, it's like, I'm glad I didn't send that.
Well, no, you don't speak the text. You just record yourself.
No, that's what, oh, I see. I think that, like, it types it out for you. Okay. Yeah, speaking to text, it's kind of funny sometimes.
Just record yourself. Because sometimes you can be in an environment and the noise or sounds or something could trigger something, or you may be looking at something. So if you can't physically take a picture of it, record, hey, I'm looking at this red car with blah, blah, blah. This lady got out, she got this on, that on, whatever. And, while I'm looking at her, I thought about this because of this. And again, it may not make sense, but at that moment, something triggered. So when it triggers you, just record yourself and go back and listen to it later. And you may listen to it 5 or 6 times before it really like click and be like, oh, okay. And then it may, again, at that time, it may, something completely different may come out of that. So it's one of the things, just never know. You just record yourself.
What would be your number one piece of advice to a new or aspiring entrepreneur?
My number one piece of advice is to be open-minded and don't have yes men around you. And the reason I say that is we go in and you have, people supporting you, and it could be family, close friends, or whoever. And you want somebody that's actually open and honest with you, whether you like to hear it or not. And sometimes our biggest lessons come from those that we don't want to hear. And we have to be open to that. And I shared maybe a couple of months ago with someone with an issue. And of course, as humans, we get in our feelings. We get upset and, oh, no, she didn't talk to me that way. No, he didn't say this. And as a human, we're just going to do that. But we have to be able to go calm down, take a breath or two, and come back and be like, okay, that did make sense, but let's agree to disagree. Or maybe I actually do need to go back and look at this thing. Maybe I'm not as into it as I thought I was. And don't get so hung up on your passion. I know you asked me for one, but here's another.
That's good. That's good.
Don't get so hung up on your passion. We have, every time you go somewhere and you ask somebody about them, oh, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this. That's fine and dandy. And I always use myself as an example. I am truly passionate about some shoes, but I don't want to sell no shoes. I don't want a shoe store, but I am passionate about some shoes. So we have to be careful with our passions, and do your passion align with your talent and your skills? So if it doesn't align with that, then it's a hobby. It's something that you may like to do. You really love to do this thing, but is it truly a business for you?
Well, what would you say has been your biggest challenge in the entrepreneur journey?
That in itself, being an entrepreneur. Just being an entrepreneur, that it's not an easy ride. It's not a quick journey. It's not an overnight success. Regardless of how many people is seen online and they giving this, whoa, this is lovely, this is this, we're happy, no. The reality is, in front of the camera, we're smiles, we're happy, we see the glitz, we see the glam, we see the easiness. but it's hard work. It's hard work. That's just it's hard work, and we tend to overlook that sometimes.
There's your shot of truth. Well, thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. Love listening to all your stories and everything that you've done, and love you sharing this experience with us. Can you share? I mean, we've talked about it throughout a little bit, but just for our listeners, so that they can know everywhere they can find you.
Okay. Well, the website for Behind the Scene Expert is behindthesceneexpert.com. And we're also on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And my LinkedIn is Melissa Ambers, so real easy. Facebook is Behind the Scene Expert. For Savvy, the business magazine and podcast, that's on Facebook as well under its own page, Savvy the Business Magazine. LinkedIn, still under my name, Melissa Ambers. On Twitter and Instagram is Savvy Mag Biz, SAVVYMAGBIZ.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And, hopefully our listeners will go find that. If you go to jeffhagee.com and go to podcasts, you can find my interview on Melissa's podcast. It's on there as well. And thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Melissa.
Absolutely.